Hey guys, so it's the first of the year, and at the first of the year, we always focus on how we can use line to make art. Line is one of our elements of art here on the poster, and a line is just any mark that you make between 2 points, the beginning of the line and the end of the line. Now, that line in between, it can be any kind of line. It could be a wavy line, it could be a castle line, it could be a zigzag, and we've used these in previous years to make art, to decorate art, all kinds of things. So this time, though, I want us to focus on horizontal lines, vertical lines, and diagonal lines. So let's check out this chart together. So this chart shows us vertical, horizontal, and diagonal lines. Over here, vertical lines communicate strength, stability, and authority. The example here is some columns in like a Roman or a Greek building. You could also use vertical lines to add stability or strength to your artwork through trees or by a series of buildings, because buildings are very tall usually, like skyscrapers, so those would be using vertical lines. All right, let's move on to horizontal lines. These can communicate calm, peace, and passiveness. In this case, it's the calm water that a sailboat is sailing on. So anytime you want to add peace or calmness to your artwork, then flat, straight, horizontal lines can do that for you. Now, imagine if this line was a wavy line, though. All of a sudden, instead of peaceful, it's choppy water, and that gives us a different feeling. So the kind of line that you use does matter. Then diagonal lines can communicate movement, action, and drama. In this case, this running man is at a diagonal line. He's leaning forward, and that shows us movement. We can tell by his pose that he is running and running fast. If he were in that same pose, but he were straight up and down, then it would just like he was marching or something and not going nearly as fast. So diagonal lines can definitely add some speed and movement and motion to our artwork. So you can use horizontal lines, vertical lines, and diagonal lines to add those things we just talked about to your artwork. For instance, but it could be in like a hidden way. So instead of literally drawing vertical lines, you can draw a series of trees, and that gives the stability to your whole artwork that you want it to without literally having to draw vertical lines. So you can use the concept of these lines without literally drawing lines. But you can also draw art with just lines. So check out these cool examples I found. This artwork is probably making your eye do some funny things. The reason is because when we see lines, our eyes want to follow the lines, and there's a bunch of lines going on in this artwork. So if you wanted to make something like this, first you would draw some vertical lines, and if it's making your eyes feel crazy, feel free to look away for a second. But you can draw the vertical lines, and then you just connect them with zigzags, and you do that a whole bunch of times, and voila, you've got an optical illusion art. Pretty cool. Let's move on. Here's another example I found. This person used kind of zigzags, just straight lines, diagonal lines, but did several lines side by side, so they made stripes, and then they went in and added color in between their lines. And I think this looks really fantastic. My eye really likes to follow these lines and see how those stripes go in and out of each other. This is a pretty cool artwork. Let's look at one more example. This looks pretty cool, right? And this is something I think we could all do. All you need is maybe a ruler to make sure your lines are nice and straight. And so all they did was they kept a series of diagonal lines that kept meeting up with other diagonal lines, and then they just added some more lines that matched their thick lines that they started with, and then you get this cool tunnel effect. So this is something I personally want to try in my sketchbook pretty soon. There you have it, guys. You can make all kinds of cool artwork with just using different kinds of lines. And now you know all about vertical lines, horizontal lines, and diagonal lines. One more kind of line I wanted to cover with you, though, is parallel lines. Parallel lines are when you have more than one line that are even with each other. They can be vertical, they could be horizontal, or they could be diagonal. Any kind of line you can make a parallel line by making another one beside it. The colorful sketchbook example that we looked at was a good example of that. That's how they made those stripes, was by using parallel lines. So what are we going to do, though? What are we going to do, Mr. Eck? Well, it is the first week. I wanted to keep it easy, keep it simple. We're just warming up here. So your job today is to practice making art just with lines. You can do something simple. You can do something more complex and add colors and such. However far you want to take it is fine. I just, it's up to you. And if you're live on this Teams event with me, I'm going to tell you how I want you to show me that you completed the practice. If you're watching this video later, then let's not worry about that for this week. And I just want you to practice, okay? And then we'll build on this line knowledge next week with another art lesson. So I will see you then. Let me know if you have any questions.